Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders. And shalom to you brothers out there on the highways doing the work sincerely. Real quick lesson today concerning this upstate demonite and concerning Numbers the 28th chapter. And what he clearly doesn't understand is the scriptures. And we're gonna go through this quick lesson to show him and to show all those who are down with him that he don't know what the hell he's talking about when it speaks about the 7 lambs pursuant to Numbers the 28th chapter in the 11th verse, because he's been going back and forth with Elder Gabar and many other brothers, talking about how many lambs were sacrificed on the Sabbath, how many lambs were sacrificed on the Sabbath day. Well, let's go to his video. I believe this is it here, and let's listen to what he says, and then we're gonna go through it. Alright, so I'm gonna play this.
Like I said, I told this brother that if the new moon was a Sabbath, then the answer that he gave me instead of the answer 8, which obviously if he had to answer my question, which means that we already had determined specifically what I was asking him, but in his video he says otherwise. Now, what I told him was, if the new moon was a Sabbath, then the answer that he should have gave me was 13, being that the scriptures in Numbers 28, verse 11, tells you that the new moon requires 7 lambs, right? Therefore, you would...
Now, I'm going to stop it right there, and we're going to go to Numbers the 28th chapter, because nowhere in Numbers the 28th chapter does it say that the new moon requireth 7 lambs. It doesn't say that. So let's break this down. Numbers 28 and 11. It says, in the beginnings of months, ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. Now you got to ask yourself, why would the Lord set this up in this manner? Okay, so we're going to keep this in mind, but we're going to go to a couple other scriptures right quick, because what he doesn't understand is Numbers the 28th chapter, it's speaking about 2 offerings, 3 offerings or 3 sacrifices, if you will. Okay, so when you read Numbers 1 through 9, it talks about the daily sacrifice, which it says here in verse 3, and thou shalt say unto them, this is an offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto the Lord, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering. So day by day is telling you every single day you're going to offer 2 lambs, and it tells you when you're going to offer these lambs. Verse 4, the 1 lamb shalt thou offer in the morning, and the other lamb shalt thou offer at evening. So there's 2 lambs you're going to offer for the day by day burnt offering. Okay, so that gives you the information, the edification from 1 through 9. Now in the 9th verse, it talks about the weekly sacrifice, which is the Sabbath, because the Sabbath comes once a week. So therefore now the Lord is breaking it down in verse 9 about the weekly sacrifice and how many lambs you're to sacrifice on the Sabbath. And it reads, verse 9, and on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2 teeth deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and a drink offering thereof. So now the Lord is telling us from verse 9 down to verse 11 that the weekly sacrifice is going to be once a week on the Sabbath, 2 lambs. So now to recap and go back a little bit, you're going to have the daily sacrifice, which is every single day, and you're going to have the weekly sacrifice, which is once a week. So 1 time a week on the Sabbath, which is at 1 time a week, you're going to sacrifice 4 lambs. Okay, you're going to have the daily sacrifice, which is the 2, and on the Sabbath day you're going to sacrifice 2 more. So only once a week will you sacrifice 4 lambs. Okay, Now we're also going to get into the 7 lambs, which he lacks edification and understanding on. Okay, so as we read verse 9 again on down to 10, it says, "And on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and the 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof." Now here's the point. This is a burnt offering, speaking of the Sabbath offering. This is a burnt offering of every Sabbath, besides the continual burnt offerings on his drink offering, in his drink offering. So, besides the Sabbath offerings of the 2 lambs, okay, you're going to also offer the continual burnt offerings, which is the daily sacrifice. Okay, so you have a daily sacrifice, which is every single day, 2 lambs. You have a weekly sacrifice, which is the Sabbath, which comes in once a week, which are 2 lambs. Now, let's go to verse 11. "And in the beginnings of your months ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks, and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot." Okay, so now verse 11 on down is talking about the monthly sacrifice. Okay, now each of these sacrifices has its own significance. Now what he doesn't understand, now it says here in verse 11, "In the beginnings of your months ye shall offer a burnt sacrifice, a burnt offering unto the Lord." Now this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be held on the Sabbath day, because we know what the Sabbath day represents. Solemn assembly, no work, no play, no laughter, no having a good time. Okay? So, let's go to Numbers the 10th chapter. And keep in mind when it says, "In the beginnings of your months ye shall offer a burnt offering." So to get some understanding on what it's talking about, those 7 rams, those 7 lambs rather, with the ram and the bullocks, let's go to verse Numbers 10 and 10. And it says this. It says, "Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpet of your burnt offerings. You should blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings." That's what that's talking about when you read the monthly sacrifice, which is a peace offering that we make with the Lord. Okay, and we'll prove that ye may be to your that Shlaki, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am the Lord your power. So what the Lord is requiring us to do, He's requiring that we have a daily sacrifice, a weekly sacrifice, and a monthly sacrifice. And the monthly sacrifice is what? A peace offering. Now, to prove that this doesn't fall on the Sabbath, but it falls within that week of the Sabbath, because it says in the beginnings of your months, and we know that the Sabbath itself represents the beginning of the month. Okay, but it's telling you here in the beginnings of your months, because why? On the Sabbath we're not to rejoice. So let's go here. We're not to rejoice and have a grand old time. So let's look up also in the day of your gladness. Now it says in the beginning of months we're going to sacrifice those lambs. Now we know that the Sabbath represents a solemn assembly, time of rest, time of no play, no fun. So let's look up gladness. Joy, mirth, gladness, joy, gaiety, pleasure, joy of God, glad, result, happy, issue. Okay, so going back to what we're speaking about through the Spirit, going back and letting you know that in the beginnings of your month, this is actually taking place in that first week of the month. It's not particularly falling on the Sabbath day itself, because the Sabbath day is a day of rest, not a day of joy and of happiness. Okay? And the blowing of the trumpets. Because now if we read up to verse 9, let's read verse 9. And it says, Numbers 10 and 9. And if ye go to war in your land, in if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then shall ye blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your power, and he shall be saved, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. And going down to 10. Also in the day of your gladness. Why is that? Why is it going to be in the day of our gladness? Because the Lord delivered us from our enemies. So when the Lord delivers us, we're not just going to walk away and be like, okay, Lord, thank you, see you later. No, we're going to have a peace offering with the Lord. And that peace offering represents what? Us acknowledging the Lord, us thanking the Lord. Okay? So let's go. Am I in the right spot? Present enemy, trumpet shall be remembered. Let's go look up, ye shall be remembered. To remember, to recall, to call to mind. Exactly. So when you're giving that peace offering, what? You're remembering, you're calling to mind what the Lord has done for us, what miracles He's brought us through. To cause to remember, remind, to cause to remember, to keep in remembrance, to mention, to record, to make a memorial, to make remembrance. That's what that peace offering's all about. You know, remembering that the Lord brought us out of the hand of our enemies. And that's why it's telling you, also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months. What's it say in Numbers 28 and 11? And in the beginning of your months ye shall offer burnt offerings unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. Now, as I said earlier, we weren't sacrificing to the Lord with joy on the Sabbath. We were humble. The Lord created the earth, the earths and the seas and the lands and everything in 6, and He rested on the 7th. So what sense would it make for us to make joy and have a grand old time on the Sabbath, when that's what the Lord created, what? For the day of rest. But this dude don't understand that. He clearly has no understanding. So let's go to his his logic and see how he comes to the determination that it's 13. Okay? Keep in mind now, each sacrifice has its own purpose. So he says 7 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 13, which he's correct. But what he doesn't understand is this 7 isn't pertaining to these Sabbaths. That 7 is pertaining to the sacrifice, the peace offering. So what he did was, he took the 7, okay, and out of those 7, he incorporated the 2 to represent the Sabbath day. But what significance would the Lord have you separate the 2 from the 7, leaving you 5 lambs? Okay? So his logic is, okay, you got one Sabbath here, which would be 2, the next Sabbath here, which would be 2, the next Sabbath here, which would be 2, which is 2, 4, 6, and as Elder Gabar said, there would be 8, and as the scriptures say, there is 8. So now you take this 7 and use those 2 which are incorporated in the peace offering, which he tried to do, to determine the total number of 13. Because in actuality, you're going to sacrifice 2 lambs every single day, and then 2 lambs once a week. So that totals more than 7 itself. More than 13 itself. But he don't understand that. He's just reading at face value, and he's not getting deep into the scriptures to actually see what the scriptures are talking about. Okay? He gonna have 13 here. That's demonic, man. That's demonic. Because it says the number 13 means rebellion. And that's what you're doing, man. That's what you're being. You upstate demonite. You're being rebellious. You're being rebellious. And that's why the Lord ain't dealing with you. Okay? You're being proud. You're being boastful. Sitting there talking about, yeah, I taught him that. I taught him that. With a smile on your face. But you don't even know what the hell you're talking about, man. Alright, so let me just recap on verse 28. And it says, and in the beginnings, plural, of your months, ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord. What significance do these burnt offerings represent? They represent the peace offering, as stated in Numbers the 10th chapter. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpet, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord. The Lord's going to remember his people, your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Now, he's telling you what your next step should be after he helps us. Also, in the day of your gladness, once again, not on the Sabbath day, but it happens in that first week of your month before the Sabbath takes place. Okay? In that first week, before or during that week that the Sabbath takes place is when this is happening. Okay, so those 7 lambs that are mentioned in Numbers the 28th chapter are not the lambs that are associated with the Sabbath. These lambs are associated with the peace offering to the Lord, along with what? Along with the 2 young bullocks and the 1 ram. You see? That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about 7 lambs and 2 and 2 and 2 more to get 13. It's not talking about that, man. You lack understanding. And you get all proud as if you knew what the hell you was talking about. Because you're the one who's bearing false witness. You're sitting there saying, brothers rape women. Well, bring the proof out, man. Bring the proof out that brothers rape women, man. Little kids, bring that proof out. Where the articles at? You bearing false witness, man. Everything that brothers is bringing out against you is we bringing it out through your own stupidity, man. We busting you over the head with your own stupidity. But to sit there and say brothers is raping kids, prove that, man? You bearing false witness. You bearing false witness. And you know what the consequences is for that, man. And you sitting there running your mouth about me, talking about, oh, you loose lips, you Adamu. Listen, if you was a brother, then I would have kept that to the heart, man. But you're not a brother. You're a demon. You're wicked. You're in a dark dungeon room. You love that darkness. And as I looked at your page, man, let's go back and look at his page. Let's look at this brother's page for a quick second. Okay? Let's look at his page. We'll look at his videos. And check these videos out, man. Look how dark these videos are. Look how dark they are. And the only light videos is when you was with these brothers from out in that camp, man. These are the only videos that show any kind of light. But other than that, darkness. Darkness. Rick James called that nigga darkness. Darkness. You see, look how dark this shit is, man. There is 0 light in you. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I just want to bring out the edification on this, concerning those 7 lambs. Those 7 lambs are representation of the peace offering that the Lord said we have to keep every month at the beginning of the month, whether it be before the Sabbath or after the Sabbath, because during the Sabbath we're not to be rejoicing. Okay? During that time period there's no rejoicing. That just proves what I was speaking of, how it says here, also in the day of your gladness, and in the solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months. What's it say here in verse 11? And in the beginning of your months, ye shall offer a burnt offering. And what's that offering? What's that offering? It says here, in the beginning of your months, ye shall blow the trumpet over the burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offering. That's what it's talking about, brothers. Alright? So don't let this demon, try to sit there and talk all kinds of shit like he know what he's talking about. We're gonna keep stinging your ass. We're gonna keep cutting your ass until the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai just takes you right on out of there. You're gonna go down with the Edomite slayers, with the comfy and the comfets, with all them other cats, the Sarge, the Pataks. You're gonna get wiped out right along with those guys, man. For what little time I've been in the truth, I seen guys like you come and go. And it's just a matter of time. So with that, I want to say all praises and glory and honor to the Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and honors to you brothers out there who are doing the work in truth and sincerity. And praise be you brothers, man, who are mocking these demons and that cause division. And make sure we gotta avoid these cats. So with that, I say shalom.